What do you want out of the next head coach, or what are the things you think are important for the next head coach to have, qualities, or whether he's an offensive guy or leadership or whatever? What are the things that you would really like to see out of the next head coach?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really want to get into all of that right now. Really, I'm just focused on finishing this season strong. Like I've said the last couple of weeks, building some momentum with the guys here, with the people that we have in place, and just going and being our best every week. And we'll see where that puts us at the end of the year. And obviously, it's a big off season, so there's a lot of questions to be answered. But right now, I just want to focus on being my best and helping this team be our best.
Always important to play out that meaningless string of games and focus exclusively on that, even though we're just days away from the window opening for the Jaguars to begin interviewing coaching candidates. So it is highly relevant. And Lawrence, seemingly aware of the minor storm that he kicked up by acknowledging to the CBS broadcast crew last week that he would like to have input in the hiring of a new coach, and that owner Shad Khan has said that he will have input. Chris, this is a thorny issue. This is a slippery slope. This is a sticky wicket, as the case may be, because some teams will, some teams won't. I think back to the hiring of Matt LaFleur. They didn't consult with Aaron Rodgers at all. He had no say. He had no input. He had no voice in the decision to bring in Matt LaFleur. Oh, and by the way, I think it's worked out pretty well for the Green Bay Packers in nearly 3 full seasons. So I don't know how you feel about it. Look, I've got my opinions on how a franchise quarterback should be treated because of what he's expected to be. But you don't want to have your quarterback making decisions. It's one thing to have input. You don't want him making decisions. You don't want your quarterback hiring the coach. That's for damn sure.
No, that's exactly right, Mike. I mean, again, there's very few, I think examples of that in the history of the sport. We can go through great quarterbacks of all time and go, they had no say in who got hired there. I mean, you just mentioned one of them, certainly. We saw, we heard Tony Dungy over the weekend, right, talk about Peyton Manning. I don't think Peyton Manning was like the biggest fan of Dungy, defensive coach, coming to town to Indianapolis. It worked out. Again, the player doesn't know everything. And especially a young player who hasn't been around. Trevor Lawrence, to use a phrase you hear me say a lot, like he doesn't even know what he doesn't know yet. His first experience in the NFL is Urban Meyer. I mean, that's what he's not going to learn anything from that other than like, well, I don't want a guy that runs the program like that. That's all he knows. I'm all for maybe letting him sign off on, hey, I like the person. Oh, I got to meet, Josh McDaniels or Byron Leftwich, and hey, I like the guy. Yeah, I could work for him. That's great. But like after that, yes. This is one where you don't want the quarterback to have say. They don't know what necessarily is right or wrong for the organization. They haven't been around enough for that. And, of course, life could go on after Trevor Lawrence, and you could still have this coach. So you just don't know, and that's why you don't listen to a quarterback, a player, and especially a rookie quarterback at this point, in my opinion.
Or you could be firing this coach again, and you move on to another one with this quarterback.
Right.
Now, look, Trevor Lawrence has a vested interest in the Jaguars not screwing this up the way they screwed up the hiring of Urban Meyer, because it affects his career. We say this all the time. Where that quarterback begins his career has such an influence on who he becomes. Case in point, let's make it as simple as we can. You send Mac Jones to the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence to the Patriots. Much different rookie experience for both guys with the coaching, with the attitude, with the program, with everything around him. So I can understand why Trevor Lawrence would want to have some say. But like you said, like, hey, I need a new car and I need it to be really safe and effective. I'm going to have some say in how they design and build it. What the hell do I know?
Yeah.
All I know is now, that said, here's where I think that you need to find a way to get the guy involved because of the critical nature of the relationship. And even if it's as simple as the decision maker, whoever it's going to be, owner, or whoever the right-hand person is that whispers in the owner's ear, or the consultant, and I don't agree with that approach, but somebody's making the decision as to who's going to be hired. That person with the finalist, with the quarterback, They need to go have dinner somewhere. They need to spend time together.
Right.
And the person making the hire needs to observe the interaction of the two people. And this is where emotional intelligence becomes so important. And this is one of the reasons why there are dysfunctional teams, because you have owners who don't know what the hell they're doing when it comes to picking the right people to put together in close proximity for extended period of time with a lot of adversity and pressure and stress. You want to observe those personalities and get an idea of, are they going to work together? Are they not going to work together? You got to trust the pasta and meatballs gut when you watch those interactions. And you got to be willing to say, I don't think these two people are going to get along. And you got to be willing to grab that feeling of, I think I sense something special here. I think there can be some magic here. There can be the right chemistry that we need to come together as a football team and achieve what we're trying to achieve. That's not easy to do.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the quarterback becomes part of this analysis. Not as a guy who's making decisions.
That's right.
But a guy whose presence is put together with the coach, and you get an idea of whether or not these two personalities are going to work. Because if they don't get along, it's done.
Yeah, I can get behind that. That's what I'm talking about. I'm with you there all the way. Yeah, can he sign off on the person and, hey, yeah, I can work with this guy, and there's the little chemistry, and yeah, we can talk football and really like dive in, and it's like we're two, peas in a pod, and we're just, man, it's like we've been best friends forever. Hey, great, we're talking football. I mean, that to me is the element that maybe you let Trevor Lawrence get involved in, but not about like, all right, hey, Trevor, we got 3 finalists now. You pick it. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it's all about the interaction like you talked about. It shouldn't go any farther than that, and that's where it'll be interesting to see where this goes. It's hey, Leftwich, McDaniels, I certainly understand them being at the top of this conversation. They're special. I mean, they are. McDaniels, I think is extremely special. He's as smart as a football guy I've ever been around in my life. And, Byron Leftwich, I came out with him in the draft. I know he's, loves football. He knows how to command men, a huddle, a meeting room, whatever. He's an outside-the-box thinker. His game plans are concerned. He's been learning under Bruce Arians. So either one of those guys are great candidates. And I think there's some other good candidates out there as well. But, it'd be interesting to see how the Jaguars approach this whole thing.
2 years with Tom Brady would help also the effort of Byron Leftwich to be ready to go.
No doubt.
When he's going to groom a young quarterback like a Trevor Lawrence, because he's witnessed some of the habits of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's lived the habits of Tom Brady. He can carry them with him. As to McDaniels, because we said on Football Night in America that McDaniels and Leftwich are two of the ones to watch. McDaniels, because of the Mac Jones development this year, and he's 10 years removed from the disaster in Denver. 10 years later, 10 years older, 10 years wiser.
Right.
I don't think what happened in Denver should stick to him the way that it. But here's the other problem.
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
The guys who leave the New England nest have no idea how much of that Bill Belichick influence has stuck to them.
Yes.
Is part of them.
Right.
They don't know. They think they're being their own guy, but they still are so shaped by everything they've witnessed, everything they've lived, everything they've experienced. They aren't capable of recognizing that they are Bill Belichick to a certain extent. That Bill Belichick has influenced them so much they don't even realize. It's like I breathe air into my lungs and I don't realize I'm doing it. That's how I think it happens with some of these guys, which means you better win quickly or you're going to have a lot of people who, aren't big fans. Not kind of like the same, like with Urban Meyer, and I'm not comparing in any way, but if Urban Meyer was 11-2, he wouldn't have been fired. I mean, there are certain things, in ways and abrasiveness and approach that you can get away with if you're successful. The Patriot way works because you win games.
Yeah.
If you blow through the door with the Patriot way like Matt Patricia did in Detroit and you don't win, you ain't going to last.
Right.
Because the players, the staff, the coaching staff, they're all going to revolt. They don't want to work that way. They don't want to be that way if they're not getting the results. If you're getting the results, then it's okay.
No doubt about it. I mean, we've seen that, whether it was Belichick with the Patriots, Tom Coughlin with the Giants, right? I mean, it's the same type of story. Yeah, it's that coaching tree. It's a little bit more of like, hey, strict military, like 2 feet on the ground. It's football time. It's time to go to work. It's not casual at all. I do think, again, I was in Denver with Josh McDaniels. He's got a great blend of his own self and also being able to implement what the Patriots did to make them successful. As far as the programs in place that, hey, free agency, the draft, the evaluation, what he does coaching. Yes, I'm sure there's some mistakes he made there that he'll adjust to. He's a very smart guy that way. I can also say within being there was other issues there in that Broncos organization that did not help Josh McDaniels out and his experience there. He was handcuffed to a degree more than people realize. The Broncos were going through financial issues. There was a lot of things there at that time. They couldn't pay me my signing bonus the year I was there. They had to wait until the season started until they got cash flow. So there was things at play that I think were promised to Josh McDaniels to set up the organization in a better spot that weren't necessarily delivered on. But, yeah, having played for him, having been up in New England, nobody's smarter than Josh. And I do think, to your point with where we haven't seen the Patriots people come out of there and be overly successful. I get that. The one thing where I'm going to give McDaniels an advantage maybe over others is I think Bill opened the vault for Josh McDaniels, especially when he turned down the Colts job and came back.
Nope. That happened before he went to Denver. Well, that's an old take. I'll send you the link to the Sports Illustrated article.
Oh, great. Mike, tell me when I give a damn about the Sports Illustrated link when I've talked to people up there where I know that's part of it. That's part of it. So screw your Sports Illustrated article, and here I'll show you.
This whole take about opening the vault.
Okay.
Do you really think he's fully opened the vault? Do you really think he's fully opened the vault and not held anything back?
I think there's definitely something there as compared to that. And you hear the stories about, hey, a lot of people think that, Belichick kind of screwed over McDaniels to keep him in and got Joe Judge to the Giants and the Matt Rule to the Carolina Panther thing there. Yes, I do. I do. I think that Josh is not an idiot and, with part of this would want that and knowing how you run the whole organization. So, yes, I could tell you the vault wasn't totally open when he was in Denver and all that. There was elements of things that, yes, he did not know or wasn't privy to that formation or information there. So, that's where I give him a fighting chance, let alone I think he's smart enough to adjust and fix the mistakes he made.
I can think of one thing that was in the vault that he didn't share with him back in 2008. You want to know what it is?
What's that?
Don't use a first-round pick on Tim Tebow.
Well, that
would be something.
That would be one of those mistakes. The Jay Cutler thing, that draft was stupid, no doubt about it. There was the issue with Brandon Marshall, let alone some of the things with the organization. That's where, there was a lot of issues there, I think, that people don't realize, let alone, like I said, there's probably some things he would change too. But like a Belichick, who had these issues in Cleveland, learned, adjusted, and got better from it, and I think Josh could be that guy too.
A lot's happened in 10 years, and Josh McDaniels has been part of some great football teams. And, I think that his time has come, if not past due, to get his next opportunity.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.